Hello, I'm Cascadia Civilian, and welcome to our second video in our series for new and prospective gun owners. There's a lot of crap involved in going shooting. How much of this stuff do you really need? Before we get started, gear is expensive. I know because I paid out of pocket for all of this. I have no relationship with any of the brands we're going to discuss today, and all of the opinions are my own, formed by my experiences and conversations I've had with other shooters. I'm going to tell you what I think is the bare minimum to have a safe and productive experience at the range, and then at the end we're going to cover a few things that aren't essentials, but might help you depending on what your goals are. It's also important to know that everything I'm going to cover today can be explored to nearly infinite depths. Shooting and firearms enthusiasts are extremely opinionated for myriad reasons. I'm giving you simplified choices and reasons behind them because getting started is more important than getting mired in online gun forum opinions. This is so blue. I just realized how blue this drink is.
Liquid?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. What's it taste like?
Bob Ross.
Thanks.
Titanium white.
Titanium what?
Before we cover the fun stuff, let's talk safety gear. The first thing any new shooter should buy after buying a firearm and ammunition is hearing protection. These are Walker's razors. They're about $40 and feature a microphone, so you can still hear speech like normal, but shots will be muffled. Along with EarPro, iPro is recommended. Not everyone uses it, but safety glasses are pretty cheap, and they can be replaced a lot more easily than your eyes. Next, and probably most important after hearing protection, is an IFAK, or individual first aid kit. At a minimum, this should contain a tourniquet and hemostatic gauze, but it can be plussed up with things like chest seals. If you need training on how to use any of this stuff, Stop the Bleed courses, under that name, can be found for free in almost every American city. My last safety essential is de-leading wipes. While modern cartridges are usually jacketed, the backs of many projectiles will still have exposed lead, and many primers still contain lead. When you fire, this lead can be deposited on you as part of the combustion gases. These wipes remove that. Bob Ross is coming back. Next, let's get on to the big choice, the guns themselves. There are hundreds of options available on the market for modern shooters. Even experienced shooters who own multiple firearms won't have experience on all platforms, and I am no exception. I do still have some recommendations though. For your first firearm, I recommend a handgun, striker fired or double action single action, chambered in 9mm from a reputable brand in a compact frame. What does that mean exactly? 9mm refers to the cartridge, measured in bore diameter. 9mm is an extremely common round, which means it's reliable, easy to find, and fairly inexpensive. Striker fired and double action single action refer to the action of a handgun. Some examples of striker fired platforms are Glocks and this Sig Sauer P365. For most people, striker fired guns are the best option. They're extremely reliable, consistent, and cheap to produce. A double action single action, such as this Beretta, will be hammer fired. The first trigger pull will be long and heavy, but subsequent trigger pulls, after being reset by the slide, will be short, light, and crisp. These are harder to master, and if you don't have a good reason or a strong urge to pick a DASA gun, I would stick to striker fired. A compact frame refers to models designed to be concealed. This P365 is a micro-compact, and while they can be appealing, they are so small as to be difficult and somewhat unpleasant to shoot. A regular compact, like a Glock 19 or its clones, is a much better option, especially for beginners. I recommend a handgun because these are the type of firearm that covers the most roles adequately. A handgun can be used both for home defense and for carrying, and these are the situations one is most likely to find themselves in need of defense. For attachments, I recommend a light and a red dot, similar to how I have this P365 set up. The light ensures that no matter lighting conditions, you can be sure of your target before firing. The red dot is rapidly becoming the industry standard, allowing for faster, more accurate firing with both eyes open, especially when compared to traditional iron sights. If you ask around, you'll be told to get a Glock 19 a lot. This is actually a great recommendation. The Glock 19 meets all of our requirements. If you don't somehow already have an opinion about guns, get a Glock 19 or one of its clones, like the Ruger RXM or the PSA Dagger. Wow, my tummy's not happy right now.
It's the Bob Ross.
You think it's Bob Ross?
Keep hooking up your guts.
The next thing to contend with is ammunition choice. This is another one of those topics with infinite complexity that we won't be exploring in that much depth. I'm going to recommend that you carry defensive hollow point ammunition that meets the FBI's ammunition test protocol expectations. I will have a link to a PDF on the performance of various 9mm defensive loads against this test. I personally recommend Hornady Critical Duty and Spear Gold Dot. Whatever you choose, it's important that you buy enough to test the reliability in your firearm, generally 5 boxes or so, in addition to whatever amount you need for carry and home defense. You should inspect this ammo regularly, as defensive ammo tends to spend a lot of time being carried around and exposed to humidity and other wear and tear that ammunition in storage does not contend with. I replace mine when it shows corrosion or evidence of the bullet being pushed into the casing, or after 1 year, whatever comes first. For regular training ammo, I recommend the cheapest load you can reliably source that is new manufactured. I shoot a lot of Blazer and Fiocchi 115 grain 9mm full metal jackets. You should buy as much of this as you can regularly afford to, and train often. I don't know why I did that. That's like a bad addition to the shot. Now we need to consider all the stuff it takes to train. Everything before this will get you the barest minimum to have a functioning firearm, but it takes more than the hardware to be able to defend yourself. If you go to controlled ranges for training, which is the only option for many people, much of this will be available on site or not applicable for a variety of reasons. If you plan on shooting on public land or at uncontrolled ranges, you'll need a bit more to get going, but the trade-off is that you're typically able to do more at an uncontrolled range. You'll need targets, of course. I like these Shoot and See brand targets that, when hit, outline your impact brightly. The visual feedback is really valuable, especially when you're practicing fundamentals. They come in a variety of shapes and sizes and are fairly inexpensive. To go with your targets, you'll need a target stand and a stapler or clamps. If you opt for a stapler, make sure to get extra staples. You wouldn't want to cut your range day short because your staple gun ran out of ammo. Hi Doug, my fish, and Gorlami the Gorami. If you find yourself shooting a lot and want to push yourself further, there are a few optional items you might consider that can help make your range trips more productive. I value having a rangefinder to quickly establish known distances for consistent drills, and it becomes even more valuable when and if you add rifle training. A shot timer is a great tool for a bunch of reasons, but being able to measure your progress is a great way to make sure that the practice you're putting in is getting real results. It also adds a little bit of pressure. Remember, if we ever have to shoot for real, it's not going to be a relaxed environment. I like snap caps, or dummy cartridges, for practicing reloads and handling safely at home. You can also bring them to the range and load them randomly into magazines to deliberately induce malfunctions and practice clearing them. The laser dry fire cartridge is exactly what it says on the box. This small laser pointer sits inside of the chamber of your firearm, and when struck by the firing pin, emits a short burst. We'll cover them in more depth in a future episode, but I personally attest that they have greatly improved my marksmanship. Again, all of these items are optional. Prioritize getting out to shoot at all over buying any of these items, but if you can swing it, I doubt you'll regret any of them. The last type of equipment we have to cover is cleaning supplies. It's super important to keep your firearms in good working order, especially defensive weapons. CLP, gun oil, a bore snake, Q-tips, rags, and a toothbrush are all it should take, plus a good helping of elbow grease, and it helps to wear gloves. That should be just about everything it takes to get started shooting, with the exception of holsters. I didn't cover them today because they're a fantastically complicated topic that depends heavily on your body type, preference, and firearm. I suggest researching holsters as well as concealed carry techniques if you intend to carry regularly. The late Paul Harrell has a video titled Concealed Carry Methods. I suggest starting there. I hope I've helped to answer questions about what kind of gear it takes to get started shooting. In our next video in the series, we'll be covering how to buy your first firearm, followed by a video on dry fire techniques and how to train at home. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Till next time.